it's broken again.
And today I'll be trying my best to go into detail about exactly what the problem is and how I went about getting it fixed.
So why am I doing this? Well, my engine is really struggling. It's spluttering under acceleration, it's backfiring, it's misfiring, it just feels like it's stumbling, it doesn't idle right. These are just a couple of the symptoms that you can get with bad ignition systems. So I'm going to replace the whole lot. That's coil pack, leads, and plugs. And well, let's just do it. Let's just show you how to do it up because I've probably got a whole lot of sunlight left. Let's go.
First we need access to the ignition system, and that's under this massive engine cover. Two 10mm bolts, remove the clamp holding the intake together, and then on the inboard side, just unclip this here. Last but not least, there's the breather, and you can just pull the airbox straight off of these two rubber grommets that just hold it onto the top of the engine. And now that we have access to the top of the engine, on the right hand side of these leads is a little plastic retaining clip, and I want to keep hold of that because my new leads don't come with one. And also now is a good time to take a picture of the leads and where they go in relation to the coil pack and in the cylinders, because trust me, if you get the firing order wrong after you reassemble it, you will know about it, and believe me, I learnt that one the hard way. So it's a Torx T25 bit to unbolt the coil pack from the engine, and if you've done this job before, you might be asking, well, why didn't you just leave the leads plugged in? I don't have a long enough bit to reach around them, so I had to do it this way. But if you do want to leave the leads plugged in at the coil pack side, be my guest, it might help with referencing later when you go to plug everything back in again. So, brand new coil pack. It doesn't have any locator tabs on it, so just make sure that you're very gentle, don't cross-thread the new bolts, and just make sure that they go in nice and loose. Don't tighten them down all the way just yet. Once all four are in, go ahead and tighten them down, and lastly, make sure that that connector is going to click nicely into place. Now, for dealing with the matter of the spark plugs, I'm going to use this 10mm extension on top of another extension to just reach all the way down in there and get them, crack those off with the wrench, and then finish it off by hand using the extension, just to be nice and kind and polite to the threads. And I'm also just going to check out the spark plug and make sure that it's not, covered in oil or too much soot, and this one looks okay, actually. So while I'm getting the rest of these out, I just thought I'd take a moment to mention, while the spark plugs are removed, the cylinders are now completely open to the elements, so try your best not to drop anything in there. It wouldn't be in your best interests to do that. And now things are finally starting to go back together. These are brand new NGK spark plugs, gapped from the factory to 1mm, and they shouldn't have been reset by, being knocked in transit or anything. That's what the cardboard tube's there for. But as you can see, I've just made sure using the feeler gauge that they are 1mm, and they are. So yeah, taking great care, threading those in by hand, just making sure not to cross-thread them, and just tighten them down until they're snug with my fingers for now. And now that they're all in finger tight, they're going down to 15 Newton meters of torque, or failing that, I don't have a torque wrench, so I just like to nip them up tight and then give them about a quarter of a turn after that. That was what someone on the Ford forum said anyway, and I've been doing that for years since. And make sure that the engine is cold, because if it's a hot engine, the metal will have expanded and you will have problems further down the line, so make sure it's a cold engine. It's now time for those shiny new ignition leads, and they're a bit hard to get in there all the way down into the spark plug holes, so I'm just going to push them down real nice with the back of my hand and make sure they're fitting nice and snug. And you can see there they are, look, they're all hooked up to the ignition coil, and I've even put that little plastic piece back on. And we're finally on the home stretch, so pop your airbox back down on its rubber grommets, make sure it fits nice and flat against the top of the engine. Then reconnect the breather and the two air hoses. And last but not least, the two 10mm bolts that hold it all together. And you're done.
So I did it. It sounds good, and it doesn't smell like unburnt fuel now. I'm going to take it for a test drive, but for all intents and purposes, yes, that is how you change the coil pack, the HT leads and the spark plugs in a Mk6 Ford Fiesta. Could be applicable to other models too, but this one definitely. Yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. and it's really dark. Not my best video on the planet, but I thought I might as well show you what I was up to. Anyway, toodaloo.